Fashion is all about the here and now. What's a must-have one year can look extremely dated the next. Go back on the fashion timeline for a look at some of yesterday's most memorable collections with a year in fashion. "2012 was about turning fashion fantasies into reality, from otherworldly runway debuts to major career milestones. It was also a year to bend the rules, contesting conventions, and even challenging the limitations of time, all while advancing toward the future of the industry. In 2012, Marc Jacobs spun childhood dreams around on a whimsical Louis Vuitton carousel.
Oh gosh, can you replay it again in slow motion?
Style icon Daphne Guinness opened her couture closet to the public.
I hate the idea of having things and not sharing it.
Embarking on a second decade in business, Temperley London's Alice Temperley was humbled by her regal following. New York's star-studded CFDA Awards honored the industry's most talented and industrious.
We all work damn hard.
While the Met red carpet brimmed with fashion heavyweights eager to see and hear an exhibit honoring two superwomen of style. In Milan, Karl Lagerfeld collaged a new vision for Fendi, while New York saw Vera Wang break the vows of bridal fashion.
It just sort of occurred to me that let's just make it all black.
And in Paris, after a decade at Lanvin, Alber Elbaz's 10th anniversary show ended with a massive soiree.
He can sing anytime he wants. We love him.
While Sarah Burton's fall collection for Alexander McQueen left the audience speechless. And more.
It was amazing, enchanted.
Oh my God, I mean, Vuitton lifting up that curtain and seeing a carousel of horses and that music and those colorful dresses, it was so beautiful. It was couture, it was so elegant. I mean, I think it was spot on. There wasn't one thing off the mark about that collection.
My team and I, we've started talking in the beginning. We were very attracted to these just quite beautiful, soothing and sort of feminine colors, light fabrics, translucent, transparent, glistening, glittering, floating. And so we used all these adjectives. We had this dialogue, and then we started to put it into shapes and skirts that sort of just hovered around the body, or dresses that hovered around the body, and something that had air and light and space and femininity. And kind of playing with proportions, whether they were below the bosom or or just above the waist, the hip, but like creating different volumes and different shapes, but keeping them all quite light, even when there was definition, It
was so interesting how different it felt than last season. Last season was very kinky and about sex, and this felt almost childlike in a way, obviously, with the carousel, and quite sweet and sugary with all of the, the macaron colors.
I loved it. What can I say? It sort of takes you back to your childhood. It's also what I so much inspired by myself. It's play, merry-go-round. So for me, it's very sweet.
It was beautiful, it's happy and inspiring. They were dream girls.
Those bags were going to fly out of the stores, that's for sure.
The bags, which are always a big deal, but we looked at it just a kind of cliche, sort of banal little plastic basket, and we decided to make it in natural cowhide and leather. We turned the Speedy into a sort of plumper version of itself, rounding its sides, making it more supple. Like, Vuitton is not known for the most supple bags, and we wanted to really change that, and so we tried to find constructions and materials, leathers that we had developed, crocodiles that we had developed, or the finishing of them, we developed to create a kind of softness, either in the color or in the finish or both.
It's a total success.
Anything in particular that stood out?
They're all so beautiful. I'd have to try them on to see how it works out.
It was also, just really incredible to see the workmanship, all of the beautiful, laser cutouts of the fabric and the overlays, the embellishments of the crystals and the feathers. And the feathers weren't just embroidered, they were embroidered in an ombre way. And it was quite lovely, I thought.
Any pieces stand out? Oh gosh. Can you replay it again in slow motion?
We wanted to do something gentle and beautiful and tender and feminine and soft, airy, light. Just that was kind of the approach to everything.
In New York, the Fashion Institute of Technology celebrated the style of Daphne Guinness with an exhibition that came straight out of her closet. An accompanying book expanded on her distinctive taste, but the style icon actually has a rather laid-back approach to dressing.
I never think about what I'm going to wear until the last minute.
Daphne Guinness is the most inspiring and the most individual fashion icon in the world today.
She's all about the entire persona and her hair, her makeup, her clothing, her accessorizing.
A style icon, unique, gorgeous, very special, a good friend, and I'm looking so forward to seeing the exhibition tonight.
We opened the Daphne Guinness exhibition with about 100 pieces from her To Die For couture collection. Of course, a lot of McQueen and younger designers as well, like Gareth Pugh. It's quite a fabulously beautiful exhibition. We've been working on this for 2 years. When I asked her if she'd do the show here, at first she was really reluctant to do that. And I think the deciding thing was finally when I talked about how I thought the students at FIT will be so inspired by seeing her creativity and her love of artistry and fashion.
I hate the idea of having things and not sharing it. It was like putting together a jigsaw puzzle, It was like, it didn't take me very long because, I styled it the way I would do it today, but I was quite gratified to see that there was only one thing that I just would have thrown out.
When there's something that's so original, you've never seen it before, and it sparks something in you, I get intuitively drawn to that.
She loves her men's tailoring. She loves things that feel like armor. She loves the organic, almost mythological. I think she's actually really probably a deep artist herself. And like any artist, she has those things that become somewhat obsessive for her.
She really wears who she loves and who she supports. I think she's kind of like a dream client for any designer who wants to experiment.
She has extraordinary clothes, and she has clothes that have great presence on their own, but it's still strange to look at them without her inside them.
It's when you inhabit your clothes rather than just put them on. Some people just put things on, but you don't feel that they're really part of them. I wouldn't say that someone's style is more relevant than anybody else's. Frankly, it's whatever makes someone happy to wear. I can't be anything but myself.
The Plaza Hotel in New York added an opulent backdrop to Marchesa's debut runway show. The venue's elegant ambiance was echoed in Karen Craig and Georgina Chapman's lavish yet seemingly weightless Spring-Summer 2012 collection.
Georgina
was always the one thinking about the new ideas for the collections, and she called me up and she said, I've been researching all night and I found this incredible painting. She said, you've got to see it.
A Russian artist called Repin, and particularly his work called Sadko, Underwater Kingdom, and it's referencing an underwater world from a Russian fairy tale. It was just a very beautiful painting, and it was very inspirational, and it had so many elements to draw from.
Just to be taken out of the normal world and be immersed in a sort of fantasy for a minute. We wanted the clothes to move as if they were underwater, so there's a lot of sort of floaty elements. It's going to be it's like sparkly, like being in the sea. It's like starting with the lighter colours, like on the sand, and then as you go deeper and deeper down under the water, so from shades of hues of blues, and yeah, going back and then coming back out into the sort of pastel colours.
We like to call it a salon-style presentation. Yeah, it isn't traditional runway. They're not standing in place.
Walking, yes, they're going to be walking very slowly, snaking around the audience.
I'm glad they tried something new. You've got to see those extremely couture-like things moving and what they're going to be like.
I love Marchesa. I just think they are extraordinary. And I love what they've kind of done because they've become such a fan favorite that they've had to do this presentation, which is just overwhelming with all the people there.
We love what we do. Yeah, we love what we do. We love every minute of it, so we have a lot of fun.
We're very proud of our collection.
High above the busy streets of New York's Fashion District, an eager crowd gathered for the highly anticipated Fashion Week debut from super stylist turned designer Rachel Zoe.
Brigitte Bardot is the inspiration. She always will be, and also obviously all the beautiful women that I got to dress and work with, and that work in my office, women in my life. It's kind of a little bit of everybody. The ultimate reference for me is Brigitte Bardot, south of France, late 60s, early 70s, running around like being her glamorous self without trying, and just kind of living that dream, you know, that life.
I'm so proud of Rachel and that all that she's done, and the collection looks incredible. It's clothes that I want to wear myself, I want to dress my girls in, I want to shoot for magazines.
I think it's amazing. I can definitely see her influence as a stylist and all the designers she's worked with over the years. There's like an ode to, you know, Pucci in the corner. There's an ode to Missoni, so I think she's done a beautiful job of really making it hers, but also paying respect to all the people that she's worked with and really loved all over the years.
I think suits are extremely important. When I launched my collection for fall, I did a lot of tuxedos and a lot of suitings, very Savile Row, very, very tailored. And so this is kind of like the spring-summer version of that and who that woman is, and kind of like I said, if she was running around the south of France, that she's in like a cropped pant, you know, she's in a cropped white suit that's like in this beautiful textured canvas fabric. So it's just about kind of ease and cool. She has to be really cool. Like, these girls are cool. You know, like, look at her, she's cool.
I love the gold sequence. I think, you know, she hit the nail on the head as far as trends this season. There is a lot of short suits.
I just think that when you're very dressed up or even not dressed up, I want to be able to wear a gown barefoot with my hair down, and I also want to be able to wear it with like a red lip and heels. So the idea behind the kind of long maxi length, it's just about ease and being able to take something from very like day to night and very casual.
I think it's really, really hard to be taken seriously when you're a media star in the fashion industry. And that's what's so great about Rachel, is that she has the integrity and authenticity and talent to become not only a media star, but a fashion star as well.
She's so chic, so beautiful, and so like, just you can feel her love of fashion. Rachel Zoe is definitely one to watch.
Started watching Grace Kelly in High Society, and then to bring it into the modern day, want to sort of make it a little bit more sexy, a little bit more energetic.
Alice knew she wanted a red lip. She loves red lips. And I suggested that we do a glossy mouth. The eyes are kind of just a taupey with a chocolate color in the socket, lots of mascara, top and bottom.
Flattered that anybody wears them, and obviously the prettier the better, but it's nice to see it wherever and on whoever. I love a little bit of 70s and Studio 54, but really I love the image I love is Michelle Pfeiffer in Scarface, because obviously that's on my board. She's so like polished and glamorous.
I'm a big fan of Temple. I'm wearing Temple today. I think Alice is really brilliant at designing wonderful clothes that women feel good in and feminine in, but at the same time very kind of chic and sophisticated.
I love that she's obsessed with the 20s. There's always so many 20s influences of what she looks like, and it's an era I really love.
I'm totally going to go to a party later for her and wear another dress because I just love wearing her clothes. So I like the use of having like I'm doing a concert or something, and just keep doing. I'm gonna keep doing switches all night long.
She's very good on her details. She has beautiful fabrics. She uses a lot of detail, as you say, sequins and various bits and pieces.
Who's a Temple girl? Somebody who's eclectic, thinks of herself, well-travelled, intelligent, and kind of wears things with ease. She has to have kind of her own sort of sense of herself.
Creating such exquisite evening wear is a true labor of love. Temperley describes the arduous process of finishing her ultra-glamorous finale gown.
It's our hand draw of where all of the crystals and all of the artwork and all the threads and everything are going onto a paper pattern. Then they get sent off and it gets put onto a loom, and the last dress probably took about 2.5 weeks to embroider. And then it was flown back, the panels, and we stitched that together and finished it this afternoon.
Lincoln Center's Alice Tully Hall in New York, the joyful union of stars and designers was not only a sure sign of the 2012 CFDA Fashion Awards, but also a celebration of the 50th anniversary of the CFDA.
So much has happened in 50 years. I can only, hope what we're going to do the next 50 years. I'm excited. We're all together. We love each other. We support each other.
Happy 50th birthday.
We sing
Happy anniversary to you. Happy anniversary, 50.
CFDA, happy 50th birthday.
Happy 50th anniversary, CFDA. What an amazing 50.
And everyone dressed their best for the birthday bash.
Oh, you always want to look your best at the CFDAs.
It's Rachel Roy, and I'm wearing Lulu Frost jewelry, which is all amazing costume vintage jewelry, and I feel good.
My look is kind of Havana whore. What's your look?
My look is slutty prom queen.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We go together.
Sophie called me and I showed up and said, I'm your doll. Do whatever you will. and she worked magic.
I just picked the loudest thing I could find.
Rebecca Minkoff. Yeah, well, she designed the dress, for tonight, and I love the colors, and I'm with her for my date tonight, so I'm very excited.
Every red carpet is sort of daunting and scary, and with this one, you just hope that people like what you're wearing, even more so than maybe some of the other ones.
Everyone was looking forward to star sightings.
We saw them all at the carpet. The Olsen twins, Kate Bosworth, Dakota Fanning. Yeah, so we could go home right now.
I was excited about seeing Tommy, for sure. He's right over here to my left.
Ray Kawakuro, which I doubt she'll turn up. Johnny Depp, but I doubt he'll turn up.
A scouring of the red carpet verified no Ray or Johnny, but the legendary director John Waters on their behalf.
I'm accepting for Ray Kawakura for Comme des Garçons and for Johnny Depp, yeah.
What a privilege to be asked to accept the CFDA Award for Ray Kawakura for her entire body of work. The next honor is the Fashion Icon Award, and for the first time ever, the CFDA is giving it to a man. And that gentleman is Johnny Depp.
Alabama native Billy Reed humbly walked away with the CFDA Award for Menswear Designer of the Year.
It's one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank y'all so much. Tomorrow we have meetings, we have to make samples, we get back to work, and I'm just so happy that I get to do what I enjoy doing.
Reed Krakoff received the Throva for Accessory Designer of the Year.
I actually didn't prepare anything. I thought it would be a jinx to prepare a speech.
And the Swarovski Award for Women's Wear. Joseph Altazara.
Fellow emerging designer Philip Lim went home with the Swarovski Award for Menswear.
Wow, this means so much. I would like to thank CFDA and everyone here tonight and my incredible team, and this is for the boys.
So the Women's Wear Designer of the Year is Ashley Olsen and Mary-Kate Olsen for the row. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm thrilled to be presenting Tommy Hilfiger with his CFDA Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's exciting, but I'm humbled, I'm grateful, and absolutely honored, really.
Oh, I'm really excited about Tommy getting the award because he's been around for so long and he's been such an influence to a lot of designers.
He is somebody who's amazing as a human being, and I can almost consider a mentor, and I'm happy that it's being recognized.
I think about my journey, and I think about how many years it's taken to come this far, and I think about the days when I started, and I started with nothing, and I had a dream, and the dream is now coming true.
It's always nice to see talent get accolades, and for this event to take place, to simply give recognition where recognition is due is a wonderful thing.
A CFDA award is an incredible vindication on so many levels, certainly for young and emerging designers. I think it's a real benchmark of success.
So much hard work is put into what they do, so I think all of them are so deserving of everything.
We all work damn hard. Fashion is it's hard work, but it's something we all love.
Carl wanted like a little white detail in the makeup because there are small little white details in the collection everywhere. I use white cream to simulate this feathered out effect. It looks a bit chalky, it looks kind of matte, and it's like this brush stroke of white. And if you look at the set of the show, it's kind of like this rays of a stingray.
The look is very severe, very austere, very kind of Victorian childlike with a hint of Angelica Houston thrown in. We have rope braids, give it a sort of real northern dark girl in a dark forest, but a kind of sexy girl in a dark forest at the same time.
Make way for the models, please!
You know, one of the inspirations was Galusha. So I used Galusha for the set. Galusha is used in the handbags, Galusha is used in the shoes, and Galusha is used for the print and in little pieces on clothes. The other idea was the colors and the shapes of wild orchids. But you know, wild orchids are tiny like this. But if you look at them and you have to enlarge, the colors are very beautiful. And the whole color card came from wild orchid. From the dark browns to the dark purple to the dark red. With it inside there's this touch of this strange light yellow. And so I used all that all over. And I mixed material. In one fur coat there are 10 different furs nearly, but you don't see it. You're not supposed to know. It's the effect what counts, not how you get there. Huh?
I love the way he interpreted the patchwork furs. There's one coat, the bright yellow coat with the kind of patchwork colorful furs in the front. I thought, wow, that's a standout. Again, he never fails me, particularly during the fall season with all those furs.
It's a mix of leather, very new materials, synthetic, but also felt and wool and silk of the best quality. So sometimes in one outfit there are 5 different materials with the double skirt, the piece in front. So it's all a patchwork. What is not monochrome, but the dark green, the dark red, the dark brown, they are very, very, very near. So it gives something very soft altogether. It doesn't look like hard contrast.
It was just incredible to see the materials that they A, have at their disposal, and B, the imaginative and mind-boggling ways that they use them. Again, just to use the crocodile in such lush, sort of extravagant ways, creating a bustle out of crocodile. I mean, it's probably like a $25,000 skirt.
We call it the wing belt because it's like a corset, but it takes the waist lower than the waist normally is. It's more on the top of the hip. And then there's those 2 little wings, and it keeps the body together, but it's not strangling the waist. It's not a waist clincher of the old time. There's nothing to do with that. It's a modern effect.
I thought Carl did a wonderful job of showing things that are different, bold silhouettes that were quite complicated but really worked.
I like the idea that also some of the dresses look completely different from front than from the back, because there's no rule what says that the dress has to be identical on both sides.
To combine that kind of craftsmanship and that innovation with a really amazing overriding concept, and I mean, I didn't have the privilege of speaking to Carl about what that concept was, but for me, they felt like luxe warriors.
Daily life is a war.
It's very challenging after 22 years of doing wedding gowns to always move that bar further in another direction. And I never thought of myself really as a wedding gown designer. I've thought of myself as a fashion designer who does wedding gowns, and that's a very different point to depart from. So this year I was in LA and I was looking through magazines and, you know, very avant-garde books, and it just sort of occurred to me that it would be really great to push it. So let's just make it all black. And then the more I thought about the whole underwear component, not in a literal way, but in a subliminal way, was very important to me. And underwear, for me, most women, it comes down to nude and black and white. And we've done white, so nude and black became the whole story.
The truth of a great design is always looking to how do you continue to invent yourself, and how do you continue to set new benchmarks and create new directions and have a following like she has, where she really can sway a trend, because what you did is utterly beautifully gorgeous. I think this was an extremely beautiful show, very elegant. What I loved about it was the whole darkness, the play of light and dark, working together with all that beautiful black lace, black tulle, something we haven't seen at all. It's Vera thinking out of the box. It's a little dark, which is also very sensual and sexy too. A bit of witchcraft.
Witches and the craft of creating clothes and what it takes, what witches do. You know, they boil and they stir the cauldron and they try to invent, and that's really what I tried to do with this collection.
The witchcraft idea was really spectacular to view. Dresses that normally will be purchased in white and all black and nude, it made you look at technique at a very fresh way. And what's great is that she's pushing the bar as usual. She's blazing a new direction. I mean, I don't know if girls will wear black wedding dresses, but you could think about wearing black or nude. But I really think it was to show off technique more than anything. And they improved their technique so much and so many different textures that seeing it in black, you could look at it with a fresh eye and you could see how it really works. And it was just really beautiful and exquisite. This will also definitely translate for a red carpet or for women who have parties and things like that. But this is bridal week and it's meant to be wedding dresses, so I think it was to present to the buyers on just taking a look at white, because we all look at a lot of white this week, so it gives it a fresh look.
I think the most important thing is not that I did them in black, because these are all going to be offered in ivory and white blends, but it's the fact that there's a freedom. These are about fashion. They're not about wedding gowns per se. They're really fashion dresses, so I think that's what's important.
Ten years of the lovely Alber Elbaz at Lanvin. It was such a special celebration. We all adore Alber, and for so many reasons. One, he is just one of the sweetest men in fashion. But women love Alber because he loves them. And he understands that a woman wants to look confident, that she wants to look glamorous, and he brings that to us season after season.
Happy birthday!
10 years at Lanvin, and we were looking at the collection with Alber, and there was lots of color and shape and form, and he just said, I really want the makeup to be about shape and form. That's when we came up with the eye, and he was really into the graphic simplicity, the natural skin, and for the girls to look really cool.
It's always so great being here. It's like the best energy all the time.
It's going to be quite a party on the runway and off the runway.
I thought this show was such a lovely commentary to where he's been and where he's going. That amazing parade of color that opened the show with those structured yet very effortless flounces. It's really become his signature of the house, an icon for Lanvin.
he has his own aesthetic, so he always stick to it, like, and evolving every season.
I'm wearing a black leather skirt and a black leather jacket with these big, nice shoulders on them, and then this really amazing tiger necklace. It's fantastic.
This show is gorgeous. The collection is gorgeous, as always. I have a black velvet dress that's very French, very, very sexy, and very just classic, chic Alber Lanvin.
I'm wearing a beautiful black dress, very tight in the waist, with this amazing jewelry attached in the front, and this little padding, hip padding underneath the dress. So I have a little waist and quite large hips, so it's quite flirty and sexy.
I mean, I was really happy that Alber was able to celebrate 10 years there, because I think he's made such tremendous strides in that time. He's made clothes that are not just, interesting editorially, but are commercially successful. Women really want to wear them, and a lot of different kinds of women look great in them.
As the runway show drew to a close, another show was about to begin as Elbaz took to the stage and kicked off his anniversary soiree.
Well, I loved it. I mean, I'm a fan of Alber's, and I love the fact that he sang that song. It was a very great, happy fashion moment.
It was amazing.
Feels very good.
Love all around, as usual. Alber, just superhuman, supersonic, and happy birthday.
10 years.
It was just a really fun night. And then, of course, when he sang Que Sera, Sera at the end and apologizing because he's not a very good singer, he has to apologize for nothing, because when Alber is a brilliant designer and he brings magic to Paris with the beautiful clothes he creates, and he can sing anytime he wants. We love him.
This is like our 5th time I've been on Video Fashion News. I'm just like a regular. So, I mean, here I am yet again. Your fans are probably bored of me by this time. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, back to Video Fashion. This is fun. They're yelling Heidi because I was in an off-Broadway play, a version of Heidi, where I played a young girl in Lederhosen, and that's why they're yelling Heidi. All right, I'll do it on Broadway.
Fashion insiders and Hollywood superstars came together on the steps of the Metropolitan Museum of Art to celebrate the Costume Institute's latest exhibition, Impossible Conversations, Schiaparelli and Prada.
I've always been a huge fan of Elsa, Schiaparelli and Miuccia Prada. They are both incredible intellectual women who also make clothes for fun and for the great aesthetic that they want to.
They're intelligent, controversial, brilliant. There's no rules. They set their own, and I think it's a brilliant concept for this tonight.
And I did a little research on Schiaparelli, and she was so inventive. She invented things that we take for granted today, like the runway show, like making exposed zippers, covered buttons. It's an amazingly creative life.
We asked attendees who they would like to have an impossible conversation with.
I don't know. Is there anyone dead or alive you'd like to have a conversation with? There's so many.
I wouldn't mind hanging out a little bit with Albert Einstein, just because he's probably the smartest man to have ever walked the face of the planet, besides Leonardo da Vinci, who I'd also like to hang out with. Yeah.
Dead or alive? Probably whoever live would be best to have the conversation with them alive. Yeah. I find them more interesting when the person's alive.
Probably, I don't know, Jesus. That'd be rad. Although I don't speak as good Hebrew as he probably does.
Yul Brynner. That's an interesting one. Why is that? I
was a fan of his since I was teeny tiny, and I've always admired his work, and him as a person always fascinated me. So he's someone I would want to have a conversation with.
Well, Miuccia is always fascinating to me, and I mean, I'm such a big fan, and I love her so much, and so yeah, she'd be the one.
The exhibition inside staged an imaginary dialogue between legendary 1930s designer Elsa Schiaparelli and contemporary fashion provocateur Miuccia Prada.
We'd been thinking of staging an exhibition that was this fictional dialogue between a living designer and a deceased designer. And we wanted to focus on designers who shared either formal or conceptual similarities. So we decided on Elsa Schiaparelli and Mrs. Prada, mainly because both women are known for these very deliberate provocations in their fashions. So we thought it would make for a very lively dialogue with these two women who have always challenged our expectations of taste, of chic, of beauty, of fashion in general. There's two overarching conversations, one that is focusing on chic and one that's focusing on the dress body. And within those two broad themes, there's smaller conversations. So within the idea of chic, we have hard chic, ugly chic, naif chic, and within the body, we have the exotic body, classical body, and the surreal body. We start with a section called Waist Up, Waist Down, which looks at zones of the body that both women focus on to project their narrative focus. So in the case of Schiaparelli, the waist up was jackets, and with Prada, the waist down, skirts. And they talk about the differences of approach and why they focus on those two zones of the body. We end with the surreal body, in which both women talk about the relationship between art and fashion, and it's a disagreement. Schiaparelli has always felt as if fashion is art, and Miuccia has always steadfastly adhered to the fact that fashion is not art. It's nice that we end with a very animated discussion.
Famed film director Baz Luhrmann contributed his talents to the museum by helping to make the conversation between the two designers come alive.
We worked on the script with Baz. What I love about the films is that they really make the conversations accessible. It's a very high concept exhibition, the idea of these two women, one dead, one alive, in this fictional sort of experience. Judy Davis plays Schiaparelli, Prada obviously herself.
Miuccia's such an old friend. She's just a great mind and a great person. So it's a great honor actually to work with her. She's just a magical human being.
What I think is extraordinary about both designers is how they actually use fashion as a way to express very deep concepts, about culture, about feminism, but they never lose sight of the wearability of fashion. So the pragmatics of fashion is something they still focus on. It's harder to convey ideas and concepts on fashion that seem very wearable. I think in a way it's easier to present an extraordinary runway piece because they're never going to production. But to present ideas and use fashion as a dialogue is very hard, and I think both women achieved that incredibly.
I thought it was sublime, incredible, extraordinary. Really loved it.
I thought Alexander McQueen was absolutely breathtaking. It was magical, and it started with these extraordinary floating shapes, and then they had these visors over them, so you couldn't really see what was going on. It was spectacular.
With someone of Sarah Burton's talent, you really just have to sort of sit back and relish and enjoy somebody who just has the quietest manner, but such a joyous exuberance about fashion and a sense of fantasy that not everybody does right now. It's exhilarating.
It's always a moment when you have the imagination of a talent like Sarah Burton that is so boundless. Taking all of that romance and that fantasy and the palest of pinks, the most pure dove grays and brilliant white, and then just giving it that shock of a futurist eye visor, which made absolutely no sense at all, and yet every sense at all. sensibility of taking astrakhan and goat and marrying them together in ways that are truly haute couture, laser cut, and actually shaving it to look like a brocade fabric, when in fact what we were looking at was fur. It's the brilliance that Sarah continues to show us season after season, that it's all about the unexpected and her imagination and in her dreams, how she brings an entirely new voice and vocabulary to fashion.
There's a way in which Sarah manages to keep it interesting and very, very feminine. And I think that that's a really different trick. She's added something new, and I thought particularly the dresses in the center, the sort of marabou fluffs, are just insane. So beautiful.
Words, like there's no words. You would need to be one of the great poets or something to be able to describe this. It's such an accomplishment to be able to come in the footsteps of Alexander McQueen and take that DNA, make it her own. It's wildly feminine. It was kind of a girl's delight. The girls seemed somewhere between snow animals, and then we had these almost peony type flowers, and then we had these elaborate, almost organic, almost like a bush or something. I don't know. It was somewhere between nature and animals and flowers.
It's just spectacular. I mean, what Sarah does is on the level of haute couture. I mean, if that was shown in Haute Couture Week, it would blow everybody away. She told me it's about soft futurism, and she thought of flowers blooming, and they've taken it beyond. I saw everybody working on it this afternoon, just creating waves and waves and waves of ruffles. It's really, really exquisite, I think, and just so imaginative. It's wonderful to see fashion take off, and it seems very optimistic.
Really, really beautiful, especially the last part I love. Dresses that literally looked like flowers, just blooming everywhere. It was just very beautiful. You know, it's very true to McQueen's legacy, but it has a softer feeling to it. And then she comes out and she's dressed in jeans and a casual shirt. It's just so incredible to think that she can do such incredibly detailed and just extravagant, exquisite clothes.